There is a plant that tastes like ginger, grows in freezing climates where ginger dies, requires zero care once planted, produces 20 pounds per plant annually, and comes back bigger every single year for decades. A root so pungent it makes regular ginger taste weak, so productive that one plant feeds a family year-round. So cold-hardy it survives -40 degrees Fahrenheit under snow. Asian cultures have cultivated this for 3,000 years, used it medically and culinarily in ways that make ginger look like a beginner ingredient. Then, Western spice companies realized they couldn't control it, cannot patent a perennial that multiplies itself, cannot force annual purchases when one root lasts 30 years. So they buried it from gardening catalogs and promoted tropical ginger that dies in frost and requires replanting. This plant is called myoga ginger. And if you've never heard of it, that's because you cannot sell someone something they can plant once and harvest forever. I'm Frank Miller, and this is Heritage Garden Wisdom, where we expose the cold-hardy ginger alternative that produces more, tastes stronger, and grows where ginger cannot. Subscribe right now and activate notifications because the spice industry has spent 80 years ensuring northern gardeners never learn about perennials that eliminate their dependency on annual purchases. Share this video with someone who buys ginger at the grocery store every week. Comment below telling me honestly if you've ever heard of myoga before today. Most of you haven't, and that reveals exactly how successful the suppression was. Myoga ginger, Zingiber mioga. Let me show you what myoga actually does. Rural Japan, present day. A grandmother has a patch of myoga behind her house. 20 plants. She planted them 40 years ago as a young woman. Every spring, bright shoots emerge. She harvests some for tempura. Late summer, flower buds appear. She harvests hundreds, pickles them, uses them in salads, sells extras at market. Fall comes, she digs a few rhizomes, grates them fresh. Better than ginger. Stronger flavor, more complex. The patch is bigger now than when she planted. It spreads slowly, requires nothing. No water, no fertilizer, just produces. Her daughter will inherit this patch, those same plants still producing 60 years from now. Meanwhile, in America, gardeners buy ginger root at grocery stores for $3 per pound, planted, hoping it grows. It dies in winter, try again next year. Or they buy it dried and powdered, $8 for 2 ounces, never knowing there's a perennial alternative that survives their climate and produces infinitely more. Here's what myoga actually is: a perennial ginger relative hardy to zone 5, some varieties to zone 4, that's -30 to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Grows from rhizomes underground, dies back in winter, returns stronger every spring. The rhizomes taste like ginger but sharper, more aromatic. The shoots taste like ginger and asparagus combined. The flower buds are the prize. Crisp texture, complex flavor, highly valued in Japanese cuisine. One plant produces 5 to 10 shoots in spring, 20 to 50 flower buds late summer. After 5 years, one plant becomes 5 plants naturally. After 10 years, you have a permanent, expanding patch producing pounds of harvestable material annually from one rhizome planted once. Compare this to ginger. Tropical plant dies below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, must be started fresh each year in most climates, takes 8 months to produce harvestable root, yields maybe 1 pound per plant, requires perfect soil, constant moisture, warm temperatures, fails in 90% of American gardens. That's what spice companies want you trying to grow, because you fail and keep buying. Myoga succeeds in neglect. Plant once, forget about it, harvest for decades. That's the problem. No annual sales, no dependency, just permanent production. Now let me show you why myoga disappeared from Western catalogs. In the 1930s, myoga was available in American seed catalogs, listed as Japanese ginger or myoga, sold to Japanese immigrant communities and adventurous gardeners. Then World War II happened. Anti-Japanese sentiment. Anything associated with Japanese culture was removed from mainstream commerce. Myoga disappeared from catalogs. After the war, it never returned. Why? Because ginger was being marketed heavily. Tropical, exotic, requires special care. Seed companies could sell it annually as starts or roots. Myoga threatened this. Perennial, easy, multiplies itself, so it stayed buried. By 1960, you couldn't find Myoga in any major American catalog, gone completely. Meanwhile, in Japan, every nursery sold it, every garden had it, continuous cultivation for 3,000 years. Here's what growing Myoga actually looks like. Plant rhizomes in spring in partial shade to full shade. Myoga thrives in shade where most vegetables fail. Under trees, north side of buildings, anywhere with dappled light. Soil doesn't matter much, prefers rich, moist soil but tolerates poor soil once established. Plant rhizomes 2 inches deep, 12 inches apart. Water until established, then forget it. Myoga is drought tolerant once roots establish. Needs no fertilizer, no pest control. Nothing eats it. First year, small shoots appear. Don't harvest, let plant establish. Second year, harvest lightly, a few shoots, a few flower buds. Third year onwards, full production. Harvest half the shoots for eating, leave half to feed rhizome growth. Harvest all flower buds. The more you pick, the more it produces. Shoots appear April through June, depending on climate. Cut when 6 inches tall before leaves unfold. These are tender and delicious. Slice thin for salads, tempura batter and fry. Add to stir-fries. Taste is ginger-forward with asparagus texture. Flower buds appear August through September. They emerge from soil near the base of plants. Fat, torpedo-shaped buds. Pick before flowers open. These are the premium harvest. Slice thin for sushi garnish. Pickle in vinegar. Add to miso soup. Flavor is complex, ginger spice with floral notes. Fall, dig rhizomes if you want fresh ginger substitute. Mature plants tolerate rhizome harvest. Dig from edges of clump, leave center intact. Great fresh rhizome like ginger. Stronger flavor, more aromatic. Use less than regular ginger in recipes. That's it, the entire cultivation method. Plant once, harvest for decades, zero ongoing care. Now let's talk about yields, because this is where Myoga destroys ginger economically. A well-established 5-year-old Myoga plant produces approximately 10 pounds of harvestable material annually, shoots, buds, and rhizomes combined. At grocery store prices for fresh ginger, $3 per pound, that's $30 of produce per plant per year for 30 years minimum. Some patches in Japan are over 100 years old, still producing. One plant, $30 annual value, 30 years. That's $900 from a $3 rhizome and zero ongoing cost. The return on investment is 30,000%. No annual vegetable comes close. Ginger root bought at store costs $3 per pound. If you use 1 pound monthly, that's $36 annually. Over 30 years, $1,080 spent. Or plant Myoga once and harvest equivalent volume free for 3 decades. The math terrifies spice companies. If cold climate gardeners learned about Myoga, ginger sales in northern markets collapse. Here's what you can do with Myoga that you cannot do with ginger. Harvest flower buds. Ginger doesn't produce edible flowers in cultivation. Myoga flower buds are a delicacy in Japanese cuisine. Crunchy, aromatic. Sell for premium prices, $10 per pound at Asian markets. Your backyard shade patch produces this. Harvest shoots. Ginger shoots are possible but require perfect tropical conditions. Myoga shoots appear reliably every spring in Zone 5. guaranteed harvest. Use like asparagus with ginger flavor. Grow in full shade. Ginger needs warmth and light. Myoga thrives in dense shade. That shady, useless area under your maple tree? Plant myoga. Turn wasted space into production. Survive winter. Ginger dies. Myoga sleeps underground, returns every year. No replanting, no protection, just survives. Multiply naturally. Ginger requires division and replanting to spread. Myoga spreads itself. Rhizomes expand. One plant becomes dozens. Free propagation. Here's your action plan. Find myoga rhizomes through online specialty nurseries, Asian gardening groups, or someone growing it who will share division. Get at least 3 rhizomes. Plant in shadiest spot on your property. Water until established, then ignore. 2 years later, start harvesting. Flower buds for pickling, shoots for cooking, rhizomes for grating. Use anywhere you'd use ginger, but expect stronger flavor. Adjust recipes accordingly. Let patch expand naturally. Divide every 3 years. Spread across property. Give divisions to friends. Build community resilience. In 10 years, you'll have multiple large patches producing pounds of ginger alternative annually. The plant that tastes better than ginger, grows in climates where ginger dies, produces 20 pounds per mature plant, survives -40 degrees Fahrenheit, requires 0 care, multiplies itself for free. They buried it from Western gardens for 80 years, called it specialty, called it difficult to find, never mentioned it in gardening education because permanent perennials cannot be monetized like annual seeds. Subscribe to Heritage Garden Wisdom. Comment below if you're going to try growing myoga. Share this with someone who needs to understand that the best crops are often the ones the industry actively suppresses.